Man, oh man, guys, this was a great chapter. Like, Reggie is actually crazy, and Megumi is so smart. Um, I really love the Chimera Shadow Garden curse technique. I think it's so unique, and just seeing this battle, it really goes to show how in depth this manga can be, especially when it comes to domain expansions. It's just a whole nother world. But yeah, let's just go over this, because I want to kind of summarize this and hit on 2 points that were explained, right? So, as Chimera Shadow Garden is activated, we see Reggie do something called an esoteric technique, Hollow Wicker Basket. And essentially, right, this is the original form of the new shadow style. And if we know, the new shadow style is what Miwa uses, and she actually uses her sword technique utilizing that new shadow style, right? And that's just simply, it's a simple domain, right? And as we know, the reason why he's doing a simple domain is because simple domain is a way to counteract domain expansions that have a guaranteed attack, right? So say a Jogo or a Gojo, right? When they have a domain expansion, it's a guaranteed attack. You get into Gojo's domain expansion, you're automatically attacked with loads of information. You get into Jogo's domain expansion, you're in his little lava area, and he can attack you at any point with that technique. And what's interesting is we get some background on simple domain and domain expansions. I just want to read this real quick. When Jogo and Hanami used domain amplification in Shibuya, it was powerful enough to include a curse technique that was sure to kill. So their domain amplification that that Hanami and Jogo used, that amplification was so powerful they could have included a cursed attack in there, but all they were trying to do was neutralize Gojo's limitless so that he would be vulnerable, basically. So it also goes on to say that Hollow Wicker Basket and Simple Domain cannot neutralize cursed techniques themselves. These maneuvers neutralize barriers imbued with the cursed technique. So let's just say you're going against someone that can use a domain expansion, right? If it's a domain expansion and the ability is to, I don't know, make them faster because the ground or the area is more I don't know, let's say they have an ice curse technique, and so the ground is more icy, right? That's not necessarily a technique or a domain expansion imbued with a cursed technique. It's just the ground icier, and therefore it helps that person move a lot faster. But like I said, if it was a Jogo or Gojo, the minute that domain expansion activates, the cursed technique can be followed right by it, right? So they're basically saying simple domain, Hollow Wicker Basket, these nullify domain expansions imbued with a cursed technique, and that will nullify that guaranteed hit. So, and just to summarize all this, what Gege is trying to say is Megumi's cursed or domain expansion, it's incomplete, right? He used the gymnasium to help him structure this domain expansion, and because it's incomplete, he obviously doesn't have a cursed technique imbued, right? So say if he did have a cursed technique imbued, say he does it, he's able to do a domain expansion, and his cursed technique imbued is and maybe I'm thinking for Gege here, but let's just say if the minute they're inside, they're just attacked by, I don't know, some eternal darkness or some crap like that, and literally all Megumi has to do is activate it, and it's just this, I don't know, dark Shikigami that kills him or something, I don't know. But that would be a domain expansion that has a curse technique imbued. This Chimera Shadow Garden is just a buff, right? His all of his Shikigami just turn, they basically get into their physical form, and then they just start to attack. Nothing to do with a typical domain expansion. But yeah, sorry if that was long-winded. So Reggie's kind of shocked, and he's getting hit by the Shikigami toads. He's getting hit by Megumi clones. He's getting beat up pretty bad. He activates his technique, Reggie, and he sends some knives coming his way. He's able to get a couple of the Shikigami. Another clone comes out from under Reggie and slaps him around a bit. And then he finally understands, right? Because his clones took physical forms before hitting him, this barrier doesn't have a can't miss attack, right? Which is another way of explaining it. Just a domain expansion that has a can't miss attack. Megumi doesn't have that. It's just a buff for him. And he realizes how incredible this increased buff is for Megumi, right? And he's like, I gotta do something, because if he uses that elephant and that blows water on him, he will probably lose. So he releases a technique, and it isn't a typical receipt. Megumi notices that, and basically what happens is he summons a ton of water, and the whole entire domain is just filled with water. And Reggie realizes that you know, he has his shadows. He also has the one curse tool, right? The one he's had for gosh, a long time when he was training with Maki. And he realizes there's only two things that you're able to do with this whole shadow storage, right? Because they come out from the ground and all of that. He said, with such low capacity, maybe you always have to save room for yourself, as in you can only fit two things, or you have to hold up the weight of whatever you bear in there, right? So right now, him having that curse tool, he basically has to hold that weight. Now, my question is, does he feel that weight as he's fighting in Chimera Shadow Garden? Or actually no, because he's got to feel the weight when he's fighting, because he's now being held to the ground because of the weight of the water that's now coming down. So the weight of the sword, that's no big deal. And it seems like his clones and his Shikigami help him with that weight, because it says your current weight approximates 2.4 tons. It seems your clones couldn't handle it. So I think the clones help him with that weight of whatever he has stored up. So I'm sure that the curse tool really doesn't affect him that much. But now Reggie's like, now that you're vulnerable, you can't really get up. I'm gonna keep piling on the attacks, Megumi, until your own weight crushes you. And then he's like, you've missed something. This is an incomplete domain still. There's a shadow above you too, right? So nice little technique, because basically what he did here is he utilized every aspect of the domain expansion. Now this giant elephant is just gonna fly on top of Reggie, right? And we see the elephant fall, and then we see him completely crush Reggie. And then we see Reggie, kind of a close-up of his eyes, like, ugh. But yeah, Megumi's feeling souped up right now. This was a good chapter, guys. We really got some more in-depth of this whole domain expansion with a guaranteed attack, and then just a regular domain. And we also have domains like Sukuna, where he opts out of having the actual spear and fill your space. What he does is he opens it up, and because he opens it up, his technique is thereby more powerful. So there's been different iterations of domain expansion that can really make this show be even, or manga be even crazier, because we've seen that. We've seen Gojo's like point something second domain expansion. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy. There's so many ways to go about domain expansions. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Great chapter.